Are you not entertained? Is that why you are here?
Zit, don't get scared.
Hello and welcome back to a brand new Flick Pick live show. This is it. Don't get scared now. How are you guys doing? It's been a few weeks. I missed you, but nevertheless, I have a caffeinated beverage right here to keep me company. And I also have the Academy Awards playing on a TV screen right beside my head right now. I don't really know what's happening. I'm just sort of waiting for the Best Picture winner. That's the only category I really give a shit about. I couldn't tell you which Academy Awards ceremony this is. The 87th Academy Awards, where a very small group of people decide on the winners, and then millionaires hand each other gold trophies and say, good job, and they pat each other on the back. But nevertheless, it's a good time. Are you guys watching the Academy Awards tonight? I'm watching it right now, so we can technically watch it together. I'm hoping it wraps up by 10:30, because really I just want to do this live show until we get the Best Picture winner of the year. That's really what we're doing here. But until then, we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. You know how it goes. We can talk about movies, life, what other weird shit you guys want to talk about. But that's okay. All right, so let's just dive into it. How are you guys doing? How's it going, James? He says hello. We got one here from White Skull who says, I missed you. Well, I missed you too, man. It's been a couple busy weeks. My full-time day job has just been draining my soul, and I'm running on dry. I will tell you that. At one point, we will make a triumphant return to YouTube. Until then, bear with me. But I assure you, the dawn is coming. The first question we have comes from the 50% Doctor Who podcast, who says, John, the Elimination Chamber was in my city. Ooh, Perth, Australia. Yeah, I watched it. Good time. Really huge arena. Mediocre show, in my opinion, outside of a few matches. But I thought it was a spectacle. It looked awesome. Thomas Surrey says, John, predictions on WrestleMania XL. I love how we're talking about wrestling. This is fun. I quite enjoy it. Sometimes it's nice to deviate from movies for about 5 minutes. WrestleMania 40, I will say, I think in Philadelphia, night one is going to be a tag match. I think The Rock and Roman Reigns will win that tag match. And then on night two, it'll be Mayhem and Chaos. And I think Cody Rhodes is going to win after The Rock turns on Roman Reigns, and then setting them up for SummerSlam or WrestleMania. Those are just my quick predictions, but I'm excited, man. I can't wait for it. Like, what is that, 3 weeks away? Give it to me now. Okay, the next one comes from Skylar Wheelock. I missed you, John. If you were made into an action figure, what would your 3 accessories that you come with? I'm going to bet frozen pizza and a Batmobile. Shit, man. A Batmobile would be one heck of an accessory. I could live with that. Or a DeLorean. Okay, let's do some frozen pizza. Maybe a bag of popcorn or Sour Patch Kids, and I'll take a Batmobile. That's fine by me. I'll take that. For some odd reason, I want nunchucks. Don't ask why. I don't think I've ever used them, or at least on a video. Ooh, you know the one accessory a Flick Pick figure should come with? A little miniature Tiny Todd skeleton figure. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you have not been watching this channel long enough. Let's go to the next one. And that question is Andy Bacterian, who has become a member. Yay! Thanks, Andy. All right, but no question on that one. Skylar Wheelock says, I was thinking, John, Cody Rhodes' story sounds like Simba's from The Lion King. Okay. You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. A man born into a royal family who once fled his home to find himself after losing his father. Several years later, he returned home to reconcile his trauma and claim the throne. And I will say, Roman Reigns does kind of look like Scar, does he not? Just putting it out there. Who's Rafiki? Seth Rollins? Fine. All right, the next one comes from Skylar Wheelock. Between Batman and Master Splinter, who trained their students better in combat? Between Batman and Master Splinter? Well, I mean, Batman, he didn't really have ensemble crew of people he was training. I mean, I guess you could say he trained Robin or Nightwing, but you got to give it to Master Splinter. I will give it to that dirty sewer rat. Think about it. He trained 4 turtles that just arose from goo in a sewer pipe to be badass ninjas with great personalities, senses of humor, and they love pizza. I think that was a well-rounded father figure, if you ask me. I'll go with Master Splinter on that. Arobi Saki. All right. Donatello. Kind of feel like watching Secret of the Ooze now. All right. Greg Sheen says, hey, John, boy. I think I agree with you. These live streams are my favorite content you put out. You always feel authentic and natural. It's the perfect thing to listen to while I'm freelancing at home. Well, thank you for that. Yeah, I love the live streams. Listen, doing pre-recorded videos, I find a bit tedious. And I don't like to hide behind my the thing about live streams, I can't hide behind anything that I say. I can't edit that out and make myself sound smarter or cooler than I am. This is what you get. It's unadulterated and it's pure. And if you can't handle that, well, I'm sorry. Just keep watching. That's all I need. Please don't leave me. I'm so scared. But thanks for that, man. I love the live streams. It's therapeutic and slightly cathartic. And with all of that said, welcome to my Mojo Dojo. I did see the Ryan Gosling musical number here. So anyway, can someone let me know when they're going to do Best Picture? I'm trying to watch it. I have subtitles on, but should I just turn it up and get a copyright strike? Okay. Anyway, we'll get there. This one comes from... It's coming from somebody. James Doshier, who says, John, do you think Cody Rhodes is being wasted in WWE? No, absolutely not, man. He's in the main event at WrestleMania. Cody Gill says, John, how you doing, brother? Pitch your dream wedding. What theme would it be? What would you wear? Get mystical with it. Please paint a picture. Well, that's a great question, and I put little to no thought into it. Because when it comes to the entire wedding planning process, and by the way, if you guys didn't know, I am getting married in October. I know it's crazy. It's weird. And we are not having a Halloween themed wedding. No. We are having a fall themed wedding. But if I could pick any theme, part of me would like to do a Mortal Kombat theme where I dress like Sub-Zero. She can dress like Sonya Blade or what have you. She can dress like Shang Tsung for all I give a shit. And right before I have to say I do, someone says, finish him. And then I have the best special effects artist in town where literally it looks like I get my head punched off and blood squirts out into the audience. I think that would be phenomenal. That was just off the top of my head, but I wouldn't mind being part of that. Okay. So anyway, I hope that was satisfying. That was a great... Thank you for that. I never thought I would be talking about being decapitated at my wedding tonight, but hey, that's what you get on the Flick Pick Live show. Quippy one-liners, shitty jokes, and a guy sitting in his underwear talking about movies for about 90 minutes. Gabe K says, when did the Oscars become cringy? When Jimmy Kimmel started hosting every single one of them? Hey guys, here's a joke. Like, good God. I don't know. I think they're completely boring. Do people watch these? I don't. Outside of who watches these? I don't know. Like, I'm a guy who talks about movies on the internet, and I can safely say I've probably watched in total 27 minutes of the Oscars in the last decade. I sometimes just look up the results, and the only ones I really care about are Best Picture winner. So, the next one comes from Andrew Gordon. Well, thanks for the super chat. No question, but that's okay, man. Akai Nai, how's it going, buddy? Hey, John, saw Dune 2 last night. How about you? So here's the thing on Dune 2. Quite enjoyed it. I do have a review. The editing process has been hindering the output of said video, but I do have a review coming. I enjoyed it. And I'll just sum it up to this. I was not the biggest fan of the first Dune. It didn't feel like a fulfilling film. I understand it was the first part. I really do. But it just lacked a pulse. I didn't really know any of the characters. And if your first part of your film, which I would consider Act 1, is supposed to set up your characters and make me care about them, I don't feel like the first Dune did any of those things. I didn't feel like I knew anyone in that film. I really didn't. And then the way it ended was just really underwhelming and abrupt. But Dune 2, within the first 30 minutes, it feels like it fixes every single problem I had with the first Dune. You instantly get to know the characters. It feels like it has a pulse. The pace picks up. It's enjoyable. I was having fun with it. And those 3 hours went by like nothing. So I loved Dune 2. I thought it was great. It was everything the first Dune should have been. And I still can't get over the way that the first Dune ended. Now, I didn't read the book. I have no clue where the book ends off. But if you ask me, I feel like the first Dune should have ended. And I don't want to give any spoilers. I'll just say this, where the main character sort of masters some of the desert power. I think that would have been a high note to end the first Dune on, and then you set up the rest of it. So everything that you get in the first 45 minutes of Dune 2, that's where Dune 1 should have ended off on. So I hope that was a sufficient answer. Quite enjoyed it though. And I will have a review because there's way more, there's tons more shit I want to talk about. The next one comes from Garen Talks Movies. Is it Garen or Jaren? It's Jaren, isn't it? Okay. Have you seen Dune Part 2 yet? If so, what are your thoughts? Well, we just talked about that extensively, so I quite enjoyed it, man. And thank you for the question. Yeah, I love Dune 2, man. It's definitely one of those 4K movies I could see buying and savoring the flavor to rewatch it at home on my OLED TV because it's pure escapism. It's immersive. I enjoyed watching Austin Butler in a movie for one of the first times in a very long time. And I know someone's going to say, well, John, he played Elvis. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't like looking at that shit. I thought his character was great. He was sort of like for lack of a better comparison, I would say he was sort of like a Darth Maul type character with a little bit of the less skill set. But yeah, I quite enjoyed it, man. I loved the entire Black Sun sequence in Dune 2. I thought that was glorious. Andy Bacterian. I feel like I'm saying your name really wrong, but I'm sorry. We'll continue on. The question is, greetings from Argentina, 9 years fan of yours. Well, holy shit, man. 9 glorious, magical, and mystical years. Thank you for hanging out with me, man. Here's to 9 more. I hope. If I can hold on. I'm sorry, I'm checking out the Oscars right now. I have no clue what they're talking about. American Icon? Okay. We'll talk more about it once it gets to the good stuff. James Dozier says, thoughts on Bill Goldberg as a wrestler? I think he's overrated. He was a spectacle, man. He put on 90-second matches. Great build, great trapeze muscles. But outside of that, not much more. Okay, the next one comes from Andrew Gordon, who says, who do you want as the main villain in the Batman 2? Also, any movie or show recommendations? Well, let's talk about some movies. Are you talking about new movies? Go see Dune 2 right now. It's a reason to actually go back to the theater. That's the best recommendation I can give Dune 2. It justifies going back to the theater. Boom. Who do I think will be the villain in Batman 2? There's been a lot of speculation that it might be Hush, It could be Mr. Freeze. I think Mr. Freeze would be kind of cool. I think there's a lot of things you could do with that character, especially in even a grounded version of Batman. I think there's a ton of things you could do. I mean, imagine a dude, sort of take like someone like Javier Bardem's character from, oh gosh, my brain just melted. The Coen Brothers movie. Someone help me out. Having a brain fart right now. It might turn into brain diarrhea and spew out of the side of my ear. He played a hitman serial killer. It was a cat and mouse movie. Sorry. Someone, you guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, take someone like his character, Javier Bardem's character, who had the air gun. The cattle prod air gun. No Country for Old Men. Thank you. And take that essence of that character, just the stone cold sort of sociopath, no pun intended, and maybe he uses like nitrogen to kill people when he's a hitman for the mafia. That could be cool. Just give me a little bit of that. I think that would be kind of a cool antagonist for Batman. All right. The next part of your question was, all right. Oh, let me tell you one movie I did watch on Netflix. Have any of you watched the newest Netflix film, Damsel, with Millie Bobby Brown? Have any of you watched this movie? I would like to talk about it with you just momentarily. This movie cost $80 million to make. Okay, now I think the premise isn't bad. It definitely sounds like a decent rainy night movie that you could watch with some frozen pizza and watch it and instantly forget about it. But the screenplay felt like it was generated by AI. Some of the things they did, the choices they made, and what is it with Netflix and making these movies that look so digital that they come across like a high production TV show? They just don't quite have that cinematic look to them. They look like a really well done TV show. I know that's a weird observation, but there's just something about Netflix movies. They like them to look like Netflix movies. They're too digital looking. I think that's the problem. There's just no warmth or glow to them. Everything looks so crisp. Like you can literally see the edge of everyone standing in front of the green screen. But the premise is cool because it's sort of like a survival movie where she gets stuck in this situation where she basically just runs away from a dragon who talks like an old lady who's chain smoked her entire life. And it's the most talkative dragon you'll ever see in a film. This fucking dragon just talks and talks and talks. And you think it's going to kill people, but no, it just rambles on and on. Maybe the dragon's just really bored and needs friends. I couldn't tell you. But yeah, the premise was interesting. She was running away from the dragon for like an hour and a half of the movie. But nothing made any sense. The motivation, her logic as a character, I just felt like I was missing chunks of reasoning between things. But anyway, did you guys like the movie? It was one of those films that, okay, it's the Netflix movie of the week. All right, the next question comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, did you hear Lord of War is filming a sequel to Lord of War? I feel like I just had an aneurysm reading that. Anyway, they're making a new Lord of War movie, which I quite enjoyed the first one. Anyway, Cage discovers that he has a son, Anton Bill Skarsgård, who's trying to top his dad in gun running. The triggers are a bitter rivalry, puts father and son against each other. Is that the premise to the movie? Sounds intriguing. Okay. I'll take anything with Nick Cage. Hell, I'll take, I got this in the mail from, what studio made this? Who made Dream Scenario? Oh, it says Lionsgate. A24. Yeah, it's an A24 movie. Okay, in Lionsgate. Anyway, I got Dream Scenario here with Nicolas Cage. I have not seen this yet. I've heard mixed reviews at best, but I do want to watch this, preferably on drugs. And then I got Contagion on 4K, which I have not seen this in many years. because I felt like we kind of lived through this, or at least the PG version of this. Because if a virus like this actually affected us and you were just spewing up blood and people were just keeling over and dying, that would be terrible. That would be terrifying. But I like movies like that. Does that make me a sadomasochist? I don't know. Okay, the next one comes from Caleb Barnick, who says, when will you gift the world with a John Jr.? Give me a couple years. I'm still coming to terms with being an adult, and I don't know if I'm quite there yet, but give me a couple of years, because I'm in no rush, I assure you. I can't handle that amount of responsibility at this point. I can barely take care of myself, let alone a little infant child. If you just, a little ball of mush that has a soft spot in their head, what's up with that? Like, what do I do with this thing? I don't know. Give it a couple years. Hector says, hey, John, which type of menus on Blu-rays do you find tedious? I'll tell you the most tedious, infuriating, insufferable Blu-ray menu known to mankind, and it came with the 2000 and I want to say like 12, 11 release of the Skynet edition of Terminator. This shit would take 47 seconds to even start up. Then there was like this weird animation of robotic shit happening. And then it would take like another minute for the titles to appear. And then it just felt like everything had a lag and a delay when you clicked around. And I swear by the time you clicked the movie, it took an hour and a half. I just remember being the most atrocious thing ever to sit through. And I love me some T2. I was actually just rewatching it the other night, showing my my fiance the movie for the first time. And so, yeah, that probably is one of the worst Blu-ray menus I can think of off the top of my head. The next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, movies so disturbing you need to take a shower after. My picks are Requiem for a Dream and Gummo. Holy shit, man, you took the words right out of my mouth. So let's talk about both those options. Yes, Requiem for a Dream, when Marlon Wayne starts puking in the mashed potatoes, that's when you lose your appetite. Though the Jennifer Connelly scene, you could say is disturbing, but I rather enjoyed it. I know, cancel me, I don't care. Gummo is one of those movies that I find atrociously hilarious. If you have not seen Gummo, let me give you a rundown of a few scenes. Well, this one isn't so funny. I guess you could never get away with this now, but there's like a little hillbilly kid like whipping cats hanging from a tree with a stick. And then in the next scene, you see him in a bathtub eating spaghetti. And then in the scene, I think prior to that, he is in his basement doing bicep curls with some forks, like silverware, taped together. I don't know if I sold you on watching the film Gummo, but nevertheless, also one movie that it's kind of like a little gross to watch is the movie Irreversible. Kind of a nasty movie to watch. All right, the next one comes from Robin J. Yang, who says, do you know the former wrestler Maven? He has a YouTube channel now where he talks about wrestling secrets and what happens backstage. Dude, I have watched and listened to every interview podcast from every wrestler that you could name. Trust me, I listen to it all. I watch it all. I read it all. And I have come across his TikTok account. I've watched many of his videos. It's good stuff. Jerry Salmon says, hey, John, I heard they're making a Heat 2 thoughts. Hey, I love me some Heat. I think Heat 2 could be cool. It has the potential. Correct me if I'm wrong, and this might just be a theory. I swear that they said Adam Driver was going to be cast. And I think it's like a prequel to Heat and also a sequel to some degree. I could be wrong there, but either way, I'll take it. It sounds good to me, man. Listen, if Michael Mann's directing it, I will give it a chance. All right. The next one comes from Andy Bacterin. Back again. Bacterin is a Dragon Ball character. Call me Andy. Jesus, Andy. Okay. All right. I'll call you Andy. But we're Andy's toys. All right. No, thank you for that, Andy. Movies for Life says, binge Severance this week. One of the best shows I've seen in years. It's totally up your alley if you're looking for something fresh and cinematic. What is it called? Severance? Okay, I did start watching a few TV shows. We started watching Fargo. I watched a few episodes of a show called Cruel Summer. And it's just, some of these shows I think are fine, but they're just not binge-worthy shows. Also, I had a friend this weekend. He tried to sell me on the show for like 20 minutes, and it was called Shogun, or I just repeated myself. It's called Shogun, I believe. It's on Showtime. It takes place in Japan during an era like 100 years ago, I believe. He said it was really well done and cinematic. Is Shogun good? Is it a good series? Does anyone know? Please inform me. Give me your thoughts, your opinions. Best Picture is up now? Okay, let's watch this shit. If it's Barbie, I will just delete my YouTube channel. I will bash my head in with a cinder block and delete my YouTube channel. Not in that order, but here it goes.
Lily, you are the soul of Killers of the Flower Moon.
Is this Best Picture? All right. We'll get to that. Come on, Jennifer Lawrence. Make a point. Let's go. Okay, the next question comes from James, who says, do you think Patrick Bateman kills Paul Allen, or do you think it was all in his imagination? I think he is not kill him, but I do think he killed the hooker with the chainsaw. I hope he killed her with the chainsaw. See, that was the chainsaw death was the most unlikely death, I think, in the entire movie. That was the most over-the-top one. I feel like he definitely killed the homeless guy, though, and stomped the dog to death. And there goes the monetization of this video. Well, I think a majority of it was in his imagination because he was a true sociopath who just daydreamed of things like that. If you ask the writer of the novel, it was supposed to all be in his imagination, and the filmmaker was supposed to do a better job of clarifying that. But me as a viewer and a fan of Patrick Bateman, I like to think it's a mixed bag. I like to think it's a half and half. Some of those things happened, some of them didn't. Are they still rambling on about the movies? Okay, we'll get there. All right. I just want the baby. I don't want the labor pains. Come on. I could see Oppenheimer taking the win this year. I really could. My prediction is Oppenheimer. That's my prediction for Best Picture. I think Nolan's finally going to get it this year. Maybe they'll get to it here. Okay. Night King 01, how's it going, buddy? Hey, John. I'm sorry, but that Mr. Freeze idea is something the show Gotham would do. Why can't it just be a man trying to save his wife? Get good writing. It works. Just because Arnold can't act, it doesn't mean it can't work. Was that Best Actress? Did we just get Best Actress? Okay. I didn't see the movie she was in. Okay, well, that's interesting. All right. Yeah, man, listen, that's a great idea. I think a likable villain who's got a heart of gold, who has to make the sacrifices to save his wife. Hey, I could live with that. That's fine. All right, the next one comes from Chill. Skylar Wheelock, who says, name a character who technically isn't a villain, but you consider to be one. You can't say Ginny from Forrest Gump. Damn it. Really wanted to pick that. I don't know. Why don't you guys let me know who is a character in a film that could be classified as the villain, but technically they are not. I feel like at one point in life I had a great answer to this. I don't know, man. That's too tough off the top of my head. Too late. Sunday night. Don't ask me to think. I have 8 brain cells remaining in my skull right now. I'll think of something. Give me a couple minutes. But damn it, Ginny from Forrest Gump, man. I don't know if you can top that one. I really can't. She was the biggest piece of shit human being alive. Oh, okay. Somebody just gave me the right answer. Richard Barron, you are the man. This is, okay. The Pigeon Lady. The disgusting, fucking grotesque pigeon lady from Home Alone 2, covered in bird shit. What was that all about? Now, you can say she saved the day at the end of the movie by throwing some bird seeds on the wet bandits. That's fine. But, man, No. Jordan Belfort, yeah, I mean, technically he was a piece of shit. But he was a likable asshole. So that's what I liked about it. Yeah, the drill sergeant from Full Metal Jacket. He could suck a golf ball through a garden hose. Yeah, the villain in that film was not the Vietnam War. It was the drill sergeant. James Dozier says, favorite Stone Cold segment. I always liked the one where, well, I like when he drives the beer truck out and sprays the audience with beer, which was actually water, but I liked that quite a bit. Nicholas Onkeel says, are all 100,000 subs to be invited to your wedding? No. If I could, I would. But listen, man, food is expensive and we have to pay to feed these people. And that shit costs too much. So I'm sorry. But I will share pictures with you and tell you all about it. All right. But thank you. If I could, I would. Avery A says, John, what are your top 5 favorite STDs? Well, besides hepatitis and herpes, I don't know. Maybe HIV. I don't know, man. What kind of question was that? Can we all just agree on chlamydia? It has a nice ring to it. Oh, Jimmy Kimmel and his shitty jokes he reads off of a teleprompter. If a stage light just landed on him and crushed him, that would be one of the best moments of TV, wouldn't it? All right, the next one comes from James Dozier, who says, we already answered this one. Night King 01 says, John, since I was in the mood late last night for some reason, because I feel like bad movies, I watched The Medallion. Jackie Chan with superpowers is so bad as you think and as funny as you think. Yeah, I didn't watch The Medallion. It always reminded me of that Sean William Scott movie. What was it? The Monk or whatever? The early 2000s shitty movie, The Monk Master. What was that called? All right, the next one comes from Claudia Rogojan. Have you watched Banshee yet? I have not, man. I have not watched Banshee. James Dozier says, John, final award is happening now. I'm watching it. Oh, it's Al Pacino, man. All right. Hoo-ha, motherfucker. And Best Picture nominee goes to... We'll let Pacino get on with the speech here as I answer the next question. Your name here says, Hi, John. Hope you're doing well, brother. I saw Dune 2 in Dolby Atmos. Amazing. Do you prefer Dolby over IMAX 2? I'm going to answer that in just 1 second. He's talking slow, is he not? Come on, Pacino. Can't wait. Who do you think it's going to be? The anticipation. In my eyes, see Oppenheimer. So Oppenheimer wins. Chris Nolan finally did it, man. Best picture. It's won 7 Oscars tonight. But hey, okay, let's all be honest. When it came to blockbuster spectacles this year that were well written and well directed, there was a couple to pick from, and I think this year the clear winner was Oppenheimer. But man, outside of this year or another year, I don't know if it would have gotten it. I really don't. Okay, so Oppenheimer. Okay, I can live with that. I think that's a good pick. Definitely when you look at the other 10 nominees, I'm just happy Barbie didn't win. I'm just pleased. That gives me faith in Hollywood and humanity. Cool, man. All right. Yay, Oppenheimer won. All right. Good pick. I can live with that. Okay. Let's get on to the good stuff, the questions. Because the Academy Awards are boring as shit and putting me to sleep. I don't know about you guys. All right, here we go. Yeah, so I think I do prefer Dolby Atmos if it's a good screen, if it's a large enough screen. I like IMAX, but sometimes it's almost overly stimulating. And the thing about IMAX screens, I do like the immersive factor, but at the same time, you almost can't ever just relax when you watch the presentation. Like your eyeballs have to be wide open looking around like this the whole fucking time. And in IMAX screenings, the audio is so loud and bombastic, it's just sometimes it hurts to listen to. Anyone else agree with that? Don't get me wrong, I like the presentation, but if I'm just going to try to like chill out and watch a movie, I think Dolby Atmos perfects all those things I just had issues with. It's not too much of either one thing, and you still get the best picture quality and best audio quality. Night King 01 says, Shogun is the best show on TV right now or in the past couple of years. Also, Fadal, I can't read it. Japan, 1600s. So it's samurai fighting it out. Also, speaking of American Psycho, it was supposed to be all real, and the director intended it to be real. I disagree. But anyway, yeah, so I'll definitely check out Shogun, man. Cool. Jerry Solomon says, have you seen The Rock's Instagram promos? They're gold. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, some of them, not all of them. Upshot Music TV says, hey, John, what's the best, most necessary, and cheapest starter pack home theater setup? And how much do you think it would cost? That's a great question, but do you think I have that off the top of my head? Do you think I have all those prices off the top of my fucking head to give you? Because I do. Are you ready? Here we go. Okay, depending on your budget, and I know, listen, here's my best advice to you. Life is fucking short. Get a credit card, buy the shit you want, and pay on it. Okay? So with all of that said, I want you to get, if you're on a budget, now, there's so many variables when it comes to this answer. You're in a normal living room. You don't have $20,000. You have, we'll just give yourself, you can pull this off for $3,000. Okay? $3,000. Buy yourself a 77-inch LG OLED TV. If you buy from Costco or Sam's Club, it comes with a 5-year warranty. If that shit breaks, 5 years. Now, if you want the easiest surround sound option, if you want a 5.1 surround sound option that's not going to break the bank, you don't want to have to run wires under your floor or through the walls and set up all this crazy shit, You just want the best bang for your buck. I want you to buy the M Series Vizio surround sound system that's basically a soundbar with a subwoofer and 2 rear satellite speakers. Sounds glorious. Costs $200 right now at Sam's Club. Then what you're going to want to do is buy yourself a respectable 4K player. You know, something, any middle of the road one will do. And I think you'll be good to go, man. That's my recommendation. Okay. The next one, and that's what I did in my living room. James Dozier says, an actual movie that everyone saw. Yeah, for the first time in many years. I appreciate when they actually pick a movie everyone went to watch that resonates with audiences that people are actually going to talk about in years to come. Talking to you, Moonlight. All right, the next one comes from Dune at Cinemark XD. Was great. I bet it was, man. Are you excited for the new Roadhouse? I am excited for the new Roadhouse quite a bit. For some odd reason, I actually thought it was coming out on Friday. For some reason, I had Friday in my head for the new Roadhouse movie, and it comes out on the 21st. But I am excited. As long as it's mildly entertaining and self-aware, that's all I can ask for. Do I think it's going to even touch what the first one did in terms of just being the most over-the-top, outrageous fucking movie of all time, where a guy rips another man's throat out? I don't think we're going to quite get there, though I hope we do. And if we do, I give it 2 thumbs up. Don't spoil it if we are, in fact, getting that. But the best insult from all of cinema, from one villain to a protagonist, was in Roadhouse. And the line goes, I used to fuck guys like you in prison. Oh, man. That's some scary shit. Like, listen, that's a dude I don't want to fight. I'm just putting it out there. Because, listen, if I lose, I don't just lose. I don't know what this guy is going to do to my unconscious body. And that, to me, is terrifying. So, yeah, Roadhouse, man. Pain don't hurt. All right, the next one comes from, and I'm answering as many normal questions in the normal chat as we can get to. So if you guys have something to say, I'm looking at your questions right now. Cosborn says, why LG? Is Samsung decent in your opinion? Well, Samsung, I think, did they just come out with their first OLED TV? The reason I pick LG is because they have been producing OLED TVs for quite some time now. And I feel like they've perfected the technology. And also when it comes to an affordable price point, I think you get the most bang for your buck with LG. I mean, there is 83-inch LG TVs you can buy for like $3,800. And in comparison to other brands, it's significantly cheaper. And I will say this, I did a lot of comparison shopping when I was looking for my new OLED TV. And I was looking at the Sonys. And just something about the way it looked and the processor. I remember watching a demo video of it, and it showed this city skyline at night, and it flickered. Every light was flickering on it, and I was like, "Oh, that's disgusting looking." And I have a buddy who bought a Sony OLED TV, and I was watching a movie over there, and I noticed some flickering issues, and I was like, I didn't say anything, but I was thinking in the back of my head, "Oh fuck yeah, I'm glad I didn't buy the Sony OLED." So. I just like LG. You know, I think it's a quality brand for OLED and it's affordable. So that's what I would recommend. John, in one of your old videos, you said The Dark Knight Rises was better than The Dark Knight. Yeah, it's not. You know, I was wrong. I think at the time, and that's the thing about me. I can admit when I had an opinion that might have been skewed. And at the time, I think the finale of the Dark Knight trilogy was fulfilling to me, and I quite enjoyed it. And there's a lot of aspects I enjoyed about The Dark Knight Rises. I really did. But I think The Dark Knight is by far the better movie. Yes, it is. Nolan's earning his recognition, baby. Yeah, he did. Hey, he finally did it. Best director, best picture. He's good to go. Now, hopefully, on his next movie, he can just do something a little bit more subdued. You know, we don't need Oscar bait anymore. Just make something else. Make something that doesn't cost $300 million. I'd like to see like another Prestige from Nolan. I don't know about you. That's kind of what I'm hoping he does. But watch it be another $400 million epic, and that's fine too. Someone just asked me, if someone stuck a gun to your face, would you rather smash the Pigeon Lady or Caitlyn Jenner? And that, folks, is why you guys come here for the Flick Pick live show. That's what we're doing here. This isn't some PG bullshit, okay? What's your favorite comic book movie, John? No. Fuck that. We're talking about, would you want to bang the Pigeon Lady if someone stuck a gun down your mouth? And the question is, or the answer to that is, pull the trigger until it goes click, click. Neither. All right. I don't know. The Pigeon Lady, though. Whoa. All right. I'm sure she's a nice lady. Night King 01 says, so I saw your thoughts on Dune 2. I don't know how I felt. It was fine, like a 7 out of 10. I read the books, and maybe that colors my opinion because some of the changes baffled me. But yeah, felt nothing really. Also, they cut Tim Blake Nelson out of it. Shame. Yeah, I heard that they cut a lot of his scenes out of it. Maybe we'll get an extended cut or something to 4K Blu-ray, which would be kind of cool. Yeah, I was happy with it though, man. Going from the first Dune to the second Dune, it just felt like, oh, this feels like an epic fantasy movie. Okay, I dig this. People have personalities. They have charisma. They have a sense of humor. Why didn't anyone have this shit in the first movie? I don't understand it. Like, in the book, in the first Dune, did everyone just not have a personality? And then in the second book, they interjected all of this shit? Why was this lacking from the first movie? I don't understand. Or did the director and screenwriter take notes and complaints of the first movie and then try their best to give it some flavor in the second installment? I don't know. These are just theories from a guy who's not read the Dune books. I was just so pleasantly surprised by the sequel. I really was. D-Train says, Nolan just won Best Director. I'd figured you'd be celebrating, sipping champagne, running around the neighborhood naked with a Bane mask. Well, I am sipping a very fine Monster energy drink right now, so let's take a sip of that bad boy. Hey, I'm happy for Nolan. He finally did it, man. I'm happy for the guy. I really am. But then again, let's all just take a moment and realize our place in society. A millionaire just got a gold trophy. I'm not saying he's not talented. All I'm saying is I'm at a point in my life where I'm not going to celebrate that. I'm just not. Like, good for him. I'm still poor, and so are you. So now let's just combine forces and keep talking about movies on YouTube. All right, the next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, which performance changed your opinion of an actor or actress? In my opinion, Ryan Gosling from Drive. Ryan Gosling's definitely one of those. Once you realized, not so much in Drive, but in movies following that, you realize he does have a cool sense of humor and he seems like a likable dude. One for me was Channing Tatum. In the movie 21 Jump Street, I was like, this is a likable dude. Like, this is a guy I would like to hang out with. So I would say Channing Tatum in 21 Jump Street was that for me. I'm sure there's probably something else in there. There might have been... Megan Fox might have been another one of those. I was not a big fan until she sort of could make fun of herself. I think that's what it is. I think whenever an actor can be somewhat self-deprecating, they instantly become more human and likable. The next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, once again, who says, Cillian Murphy's performance in Oppenheimer impressed the James Bond bosses. He's now the front runner for the role. Do you think he would be a good fit? I think that's an an interesting choice. You know, I think that's definitely something different. I don't see Cillian Murphy being the James Bond I would like to watch. I think if you're going to do a throwback to like a 1960s James Bond, maybe a modern day take on that, I don't know. I don't know if he has the physicality to do it. And maybe he's going to play a Bond who's a little bit past his prime. That could be a thing. But I'd like to see a kind of a new Bond. I'd like to see a younger version of Bond who's new and up and coming. And you can have multiple movies with him before he ages out. So I don't know. Cillian Murphy, something about Cillian Murphy in a role that requires a lot of physicality, it's hard to buy that for me. Now, playing a German scientist who creates a giant bomb, yeah, I buy that. Okay, the next one comes from Upshot Music TV, who says, pick one. Annoying teens in the theater or broken mouse for the next year. Also, gummies at the theater or just at home. 4DX or gummies is the shit. That's a loaded question, my good man. My answer to that second part was, why not both? And my answer to the first part is, I'd probably take the... if you have annoying teenagers in the theater, I just wouldn't go to the theater for the next year. I just couldn't do it. I really honestly could not do it. I'm at a point in my life where I have become so temperamental with society. And thanks to all 316 of you guys watching right now. Thank you guys. But I need to get something off my chest. In my old age, I have become such a grumpy asshole that when I go to the theater, I have sonar-like hearing ability where I can hear a popcorn hit the ground and it echoes into my brain like an echo chamber. So when I go to the theater now, I'm on edge the entire time. I am scanning the theater. I am looking at everyone. Every phone that's out during the preview, I'm like, okay, that's fine. But when the movie starts, if that shit does not go away, inside I'm going to just implode. And then I kind of listen to see if anyone's going to be a talker. And then 5 minutes into the film, if none of those things have come to fruition and are not happening, I finally relax and enjoy the movie. And so when I was watching Dune, it also depends on the movie you're going to go see. Because some movies, you're going to get an audience of people that have critical thinking ability and etiquette, and not stupid fucking teenagers with an IQ of 47. So that's something like Dune brings out, I feel like, a competent movie audience who have patience and can watch something for 2.5 hours. So that was a great audience. Everyone was great. Quite enjoyed that theater experience. But the sad truth is it's very few and far between, is it not? Like if you go see a horror film on a Friday or Saturday night, you're fucked. You know it. You already know some kid, some teenage girl is going to walk in there with a tablet that's 72 inches long and just pull that shit out on full brightness and scroll on like fucking Snapchat for an hour. That's what happens. Which is really unfortunate. So that's why I time certain movies with certain days and times. So for example, if I want to see a new horror film, I don't go see that shit on an opening weekend. No. I go see that Monday night at 10:30. That's when I go see those types of movies at the theater. John, you're not old. Knock it off. I'm 36 years old. Next month, I will be 37 years old. Did you hear what I said to you? I'm halfway done, man. I'm halfway done. I'm not a mathematician, but in another 37 years, well, 1 + 5 = old as shit. I'll be in my 70s. I mean, if you really think about it, my life is halfway done. I know that sounds depressing. I've come to terms with it. I'm just savoring the flavor while it lasts. And I will tell you, it tastes a bit sour. Billy M says, still working that job? If so, quit. You got money. Listen, I'm poor, man. Does anyone have money? Do you guys have money? Is it me, or is every time you go to the grocery store, it costs $293 and all you bought was a a case of Sprite Zero and a bag of Funyuns. All right? It's scary. The economy terrifies me. I'm poor, man. I make okay money at my full-time job, but it's not, I'm not getting rich, I'll tell you that. I actually, truth be told, when I did YouTube full-time, I made more from YouTube, significantly more. But the mental strain of it just withered me down a little bit, so I had to take a hiatus. And the truth be told, I took this full-time job for two reasons. One, I wanted to know if I could do it. And two, I told myself if I could do this for 1 year, get the experience I needed, and put it in my back pocket and know I could do it later on if YouTube ever collapsed, then I would have that ability to transition into something else and not put all my eggs into YouTube. So I will tell you this. I'm leaning back into YouTube more now than I have for like the last year. I have an idea. I have a plan. It's just I might implement it this spring. I think springtime will be a good time. And really, I was waiting for good movies to start coming out again because it felt like the last 7 months were just blah. You know, there was a handful of decent movies that came out, but it didn't really reinvigorate my spirit for cinema by any means. So I'll come back. Don't worry. Never grow old, John. You're a lost boy. You know, I think if I had a psychologist, they would say the same thing. You're a lost boy, John. You don't want to grow up. And the truth is, I do not want to grow up. I really don't. Have you seen my office? Do you see where I'm at right now? Does this look like the room of an adult? No, it does not. And hopefully it stays that way forever. It has not been a year. It's been 8 months. Trust me, I've been counting the days. Actually, it's been almost 9 months. Okay, the next one comes from, Night King of One, who says, also about Dune again, they set up Austin Butler's character, cheats to win, but they never pay it off. Yeah, you know, I kind of agree with you. They sort of, what they did with Austin Butler's character, and I know Dune came long before everything else I'm about to reference because the novel was written in the 1960s, very aware of that. But Austin Butler's character in Dune sort of reminded me of the Emperor, Joaquin Phoenix is Emperor from Gladiator. And I really thought they were going to do something like that where he like stabs him in the chest and then they have a fight. But yeah, you're right. There are a few things in Dune 2 that did not quite pay off. You are right with that. And also, I thought the way they set his character up, Austin Butler's character in Dune, I thought he would not be that good of a fighter. Because they were talking about just throwing him opponents that are drugged up and weak and can't really fight back. But the truth is, he can kick some ass. He's pretty good with a couple knives. So I feel like I was a little confused on what they were doing with him. Billy M says, oh, we already answered Billy's question, but Billy's back again with another question. 50 isn't midlife. I'm 35 and could die any day now. Same, man. And yeah, 50 isn't midlife. If 50 is midlife, that means I would live to be 100 and that's the average, but it's not. It's like 84 years old, man. So really by that math, 42 is midlife if you really want to think about it, which is kind of sad and depressing, but what can you do? Silvio 10708 says, okay, chat best 4K quality PS5 or Xbox Series X. You know, I would not be a good dude to talk about that, and I'll tell you why. I think I've only watched one movie on my Xbox Series X on 4K. It looked pretty good. Actually, I think it's a really good player, actually. I thought it looked pretty damn good, but I've never played a movie on PS5. So I wish I could give you more insight, but I can't. At this point, I think if you have a 4K player, you'll be fine. You'll be okay. Is that Street Fighter 1 or 2 in the background? That is the Street Fighter 2 Yoga Flame Arcade 1-Up edition over there in the corner. It's got like 7, 8 games on it, but it does have Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter Turbo, Final Fight. And over there in that corner is the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 arcade 1-up cabinet. And by the way, speaking of shit in this room, not literal shit, I will be doing a Flick Cave Mojo Dojo tour at some point very soon. A lot of people have been asking me for that, and to be completely honest with you, we've lived in this house for like the last year and a half now, and it's finally kind of complete. So I will give you guys a Flick Cave tour because I got one last addition to it the other day. A buddy of mine who makes YouTube videos, Alex, you creepy little bastard, I know you're watching right now. He got me a signed autograph poster from T2 Judgment Day. It has everyone's autograph except for Arnold's, which is like, I wish it was on there, but I'll take what I can get. But anyway, yeah, I'll give you guys a room tour at some point because I got a lot of cool shit back here I want to show you guys. All right, the next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, if John Connor hadn't phoned his foster parents in T2, would the T-1000 have continued to cook dinner for the family in the disguise of the foster mom in hope that John comes back? I mean, it's already chopped and prepared the meal. Yeah, the T-1000 was cooking up a storm, man. I wanted some of that shit. And it makes you beg the question, just hear me out for a second. You're right, but had things went on further in the night and the stepdad became, or the foster parent became a little touchy with his wife, would the T-1000 also play the role to continue on? I don't know. I don't know what the T-1000's into. I don't know. It's a robot. Anything's possible, especially with liquid metal. You can do whatever you want down there. All I'm saying is that would be interesting to know, would it not? How's Woofy? I can hear him barking in the background. Your foster parents are dead. I fucking love it. Say, is that Woofy? I love it. JC Zindel says, tips for the new project manager. Also, what field are you a PM in? I'm a project manager for a insurance restoration company. So I sort of coordinate the repair process after your home has an insurance loss. I know it sounds really boring, and sometimes it is. So that's usually what I do. And my best advice to you is, I don't know what kind of PM you are, just schedule things. And basically the way you want to schedule your week is you want to work really hard a couple days and then give yourself some breathing room 2 days out of the week, where you basically schedule nothing for yourself and everything that you set up beforehand will come into play and take care of itself. Also, I feel like acting busier than you are is always the best thing you can do. Like sometimes I'll tell my customers, listen, I have 47 customers calling me right now. I will get to you as soon as I can. You know, that's that's the best advice I can give you. You need some breathing room. Rowan Zonko says, have you seen Austin Powers? Absolutely. Spectacles, testicles, wallet, and watch. Hell yeah, man. I liked the first Austin Powers. I quite enjoyed the second one when it came out. I thought that was a good time. Everything after the second movie, I thought got really bad. Like when Beyonce was introduced, I was sort of done with Austin Powers in the franchise. Elliot Cecil says, doing homework for film school. Hate my life. Well, man, good luck. Just enjoy it while you can. These are the best years of your life because as soon as you graduate film school, you're going to have something called college debt. So enjoy it while you can, my good man. But thanks for listening. I appreciate it. And good luck with that homework, man. I do not miss homework. I will tell you this right now. I do not miss high school. I do not miss going to school. I would much rather work any 9-to-5 job on the planet and then go back to high school. Oh my God. I have nightmares about going to high school. Just waking up late for a test. Ugh. Silvio 10708 says, thanks for answering my question. Well, no problem, man. That's what I'm here for. James Dozier says, agree or disagree, Ridley Scott is overrated. Listen, when Ridley Scott hits, he fucking hits hard, man. Gladiator, Alien, the dude can make a movie, okay? Let's all be honest. But he definitely is hit or miss. And his bad movies, they're not just like, oh, that was okay. No, they're just bad. They're just like, what were you doing with that the money of this film? I would say his biggest mixed bag movie for me, it was probably like Prometheus in recent years. It looked great visually, but I can't believe that's the screenplay he wanted to film. Like, why did you come back to direct this movie? And then did he direct Alien Covenant, right? I guess that was worse. Anyway, I like Ridley Scott when he's on, but I'm hoping with the new Gladiator flick, it's a return to form, but who knows? And by the way, we got 345 of you beautiful people in here. Thank you guys. Thanks for coming to look at me. A sad man wearing no pants and a Flick Pick hoodie with his own fucking face on it. What kind of pretentious asshole do you think I am? Look at me just wearing this hoodie with my own stupid face on it. Who do I think I am? I should be ashamed of myself right now. But the truth is, I don't wear it out of the house. So, there you are. I'm not a narcissist. Okay. Yeah, Robin Hood was one big missed opportunity. I remember when they announced Robin Hood, directed by Ridley Scott. First of all, huge fan of Robin Hood and the lore. I love Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves with Kevin Costner. If you've never seen that, highly recommend it. Truly underrated. Does Kevin Costner attempt to do an English accent? Absolutely not. He does not. But also his sidekick in that movie is Morgan Freeman. So great movie. You got to watch it. So I was excited for a new Robin Hood movie, but man, that shit that we got, I was like, why was this made? I feel nothing watching this. Matthew Castellanos says, John, you got a Letterboxd account? No, I do not, man. I don't. I don't have the time to go through and update everything on Letterboxd. I really don't. When it comes to movies or wanting to talk about movies or to share my thoughts, you'll probably just get that shit on YouTube or on Twitter or on Instagram. And by the way, if you guys have never followed me on Instagram, please do. The link is down below. Just click it. Give me a follow. I do want to start posting more over there, especially Instagram Reel videos, like 60-second quick thoughts on movies and bullshit I watch. I need to do more of those, but yeah, give me a follow on Instagram if you want. You don't have to, but I'd appreciate it. Black Hawk Down. I have it on 4K. I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard it's phenomenal looking. I did like the movie. It's been a while since I've seen it. The hoodie is the bee's knees, brother. Well, thank you for that. If you really mean that, why don't you buy one at the link down below? Or it might be under the video or something. I don't know. You don't really have to buy one. I'm just kidding. You have to buy a t-shirt, though. Joey Ruiz, Lord of the Rings, says, how's Godzilla -1? An old Turbo Man impression. Arnold Turbo... I'm not a pervert. I just wanted a Turbo Man doll. So truth be told, I know. Please don't unsubscribe. Don't get angry. I will punish myself for my sins against humanity right now. 3, 2, 1. That's my punishment. Now here's my answer to you. I have not watched Godzilla -1. Not because I don't want to. It's not because I don't want to. I need it to come out on 4K so I can watch it at home in my underwear. The time to watch it in the theater has passed. So I need to watch it at home on 4K. And as soon as I can do that, I will. Steven says, have you seen Dune Part 2? If so, how was it? Steven, I talked about that extensively earlier on in the live show, but I will say, quite enjoyed it. Much preferred it over the first part. I think it was leaps and bounds and light years better in every possible way. It was everything I was hoping the first Dune would be. Quite enjoyed it. Do I have a few criticisms with it? Yeah, I think I have a couple. But I'm excited. And did they greenlight Dune 3 technically yet? Did they actually do a formal announcement of greenlighting it? Did it get greenlit yet? If not, it should have been. But yeah, quite enjoyed Dune 2, man. Good time. All right, the next one comes from Panic Nation, who says, great to see you, John. Always enjoyed the live streams. Been watching the Hellraiser series lately. I'm getting to the bad ones. How's life been? You know, I have only seen like 2 Hellraiser movies. I was never a huge fan of it. And once again, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm not afraid to tell you the truth, how I really feel. I can be honest with you, as long as you can be honest with yourself. The first Hellraiser film, I'm not a big fan of, and I'll tell you why. Going into that film, I thought the main subplot of that film, or the main plot, if you will, and it's been a while since I've watched it, of that couple, that weird couple living in that house, it felt like including Hellraiser into that story, especially with Pinhead, it felt almost forced. It felt like they went back and reshot all of those scenes to make this really boring movie much more interesting. But really, all of those hell-like scenes you get with Pinhead are, what is it, like a total of like 5 minutes of screen time? And everything else in the film is sort of boring and underwhelming. Maybe I sound crazy right now. Maybe you don't agree with that. But I feel like the first Hellraiser movie was not at all what I was expecting. But maybe I'm imagining a different movie. I just remember being very let down by it. But I did watch Damsel on Netflix last night. That's what I did with my night. So who am I to talk? And it was definitely the definition of a Netflix movie. Take that how you will. Why didn't Stuckman just review Madam Web? Because he doesn't review movies anymore. He talks about things that he likes. I think that's why. The next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, if the League of Shadows had existed for thousands of years to destroy corrupt civilizations, why would they send the top of their hierarchy, Talia and Bane, and hundreds of their troops on a suicide mission? It was the last resort, man. They didn't really have a leader. Liam Neeson had died, and, it was one last hoorah. Why was Gotham City the main focus point? I don't know. Why did all of their armed soldiers not use their guns? I don't know. But yeah, the logic doesn't really make any sense. I think we can all concur. But I still don't care. I think the logic of the League of Shadows made a lot of sense in Batman Begins, but not so much in The Dark Knight Rises. Timothy Biha says, hey, John, what are your thoughts on Austin Powers? Didn't we already answer this? I like Austin Powers 1 and 2. It's okay. I think the gags kind of get old and didn't age all that well. I feel like if I went back and watched Austin Powers 2, I don't know how funny it would be to me. Or maybe I'd find it hilarious. I couldn't tell you. John isn't old enough to speak like this. What do you mean? How am I speaking? Like a bitter old man? Listen, I'll tell you how I feel internally, okay? I know I look youthful in appearance on the outside. I get it. But really, inside, I feel like Clint Eastwood from Gran Torino. That's what... Yeah, shut the fuck up. That's who I am right now. And that's who I'm going to age into, I assure you. Hayden Mascow says, John, are you making a top 10 of the year video? What is it, March 10th? Do you want me to? I could. I guess I could do that. Maybe I could. I don't know. I don't know if, the truth be told, I don't know if I have 10 favorite movies from 2023. I might have 5. I might have 6. I don't know if I have 10. I'd have to go back and do some research. That might be something I do during a live stream. Just open up a live stream with my top 10. If that's something you want, I could do it. Rowan Zonko says, favorite Adam Sandler movie. He called this shit poop. Chlorophyll, more like borophyll. Oh, man. Favorite Adam Sandler movie. I think his best comedy is probably Happy Gilmore. I think we can agree on that. I'll go with Happy Gilmore. I'm not trying to look for one of his best performances where he actually tried to act. I just want the kooky comedy shit. So I'll go Happy Gilmore. Jason Nilsson says, hi, John. I saw Dune 2 this weekend and honestly didn't really like it. Thought it was too slow, too spread out on characters and didn't do it for me. It's definitely a slow burn at times, but for me, it reminded me of like a historical biblical epic. And I get what you're saying, but every time I feel like the pace started to falter a bit, it picked right back up with something new. And I quite enjoyed the supporting characters this time around. I liked Zendaya's character quite a bit. I thought Stellan Skarsgård was great. I liked all of that. I enjoyed it. So I still want to know how they get off the sandworm. I don't understand. I think they tickle it or something. I don't know. But how does that conclude? Do you just jump off and hope for the best? Couldn't tell you. Someone said Pixels is his best. You're right, it is, yeah. Pixels, I think, was the high point in cinema. I don't know if we can ever top it. Clark Ingleton says, thoughts on the Oscars this year, John? Well, we did sort of watch it together a little bit ago. I watched the last 30 minutes of it. I'm glad Oppenheimer won Best Picture. I think that was the right choice this year. Other than that, I couldn't tell you who else won what. And to tell you that I care would be a blatant lie. So, yeah, the Oscars. It happened. Listen, for me, the Oscars have never really defined cinema or movies. Not to me, they haven't, nor will they probably ever. But I think it's nice that filmmakers and artists get an award for their performances, especially some of them that deserve it. For me, I think the high point of the Oscars, or at least for me, was when Parasite won Best Picture of the Year. I was like, okay, cool. The 50% Doctor Who podcast says, I still have my blue Steady Hand shirt. Do you, man? I appreciate that. Thank you. You know, I used to have that exact same blue Steady Hands Nightcrawler shirt. It's a shirt that I designed back in like 2014. And I washed it so many times, it shrunk to the point where it would just leach up into my armpits. And it just looked really odd when I wore it. So if I get another one, I might just get a hoodie or maybe like an XL, because those larges just shrink up on you, man. And there's nothing I hate more in life than a t-shirt when it gets a little too small and it's like it becomes a belly shirt and it's up into your armpits. Just, that's no good. You don't want that. Timmy Beha says, have you seen Mike Myers, The Cat in the Hat? What is with the fucking Austin Power Mike Myers questions tonight? I don't mind talking about it. I will. I have never watched Cat in the Hat. Never did it, and probably never will. But I will say this. When it comes to Mike Myers movies, I think Wayne's World 1 is one of the most underrated, best comedies of all time. And not only that, I think it's highly relatable to a guy like myself, and for many reasons, and I'll tell you why. The first Wayne's World movie, it sort of reminded me of my own life. This dude, who's a little bit too old to live at home, he still does, he lives at home, he hangs out in his parents' basement, and he's making content. Now, back in the 90s, you had to put that shit on public access. But in 2010, I put that shit on YouTube. So I kind of relate to it a little bit. I love Wayne's World. You can almost make a modern day retelling of Wayne's World, but maybe it's like a dude who makes YouTube videos. And for some odd reason, I would like to watch that. And I feel like I need to write that as a short film now. Okay. The next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, who left all the food at the buffet in the visitor center in Jurassic Park that the kids were eating? That shit was sitting for at least a day without refrigeration. Timmy couldn't run from the Raptors because he had the runs from the ice cream. Laugh out loud. Well, wasn't the ice cream in the freezer? And the freezer was still cold. If you turn off the power to a freezer, it'll stay cold for like another day or two. And I think the ice cream was melting. That's why John Hammond decided to eat it. Didn't he have a line about that? I believe he did, right? Either way. And most of that food can set out for a day. Food can set out for a day. To some degree, it can. I mean, as long as you're not eating like fish or something, I guess it'd be okay. But hey, if you're running around from dinosaurs for 2 days, you're going to be starving. So I'll eat some moldy-ass ice cream. I don't mind. And with all that said, I feel like going to eat one of my Oreo ice cream sandwiches right now. I almost just want to go grab it and eat it on camera. That's where I'm at right now in life. Maybe I'll save that for my OnlyFans. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. A Clue says, have you seen Ridley Scott's The Last Duel? I have seen Ridley Scott's The Last Duel. Probably a movie I'll never rewatch again. There are aspects about it that I didn't hate. It was definitely one of those movies you could watch and just be mildly entertained by. There was aspects about it that I enjoyed, but I had one major criticism with the movie, and I can't go into the recesses of my brain to find what it was, but it was something about the way that they told the story. Now, if I can remember correctly, they told The Last Duel from various viewpoints on the same event happening. And I feel like I had a criticism with the way they did that, where they could have made it far more interesting. And it's been so long since I've seen the movie, I sort of forgot about it. But I thought it was okay. Like it felt like it should have been an Apple TV movie. Like it kind of reminded me of something like something that should have been made for Netflix. I don't know if the theater was the right viewing experience for that movie. Skylar Wheelock says, oh, we already answered that. John, Wayne's World as a TikToker. No. Give it the respect it deserves. There's no respect with TikTok. That's not a respectable social media outlet. It's not. I hate to tell you that. It's not. YouTube is. Okay? Not only because I prefer it, but long-form content is king. John, is the Fantastic Forecast okay or not? I don't know if Pedro Pascal is my pick for Mr. Fantastic. I like it. I love the dude, but I don't know if that's the right pick. I don't know if it is. What do you think about the movie Twister? I love Twister 95, man. Or is it 96, 95? Twister 90, is it 96? Could be. Anyway, I love the first Twister. I think it still holds up to today. It's a great, fun movie. I'm looking forward to Twisters. I really am. Do I think it's going to be good or better than the first? No, but I love natural disaster movies that have a good time. That's where I'm at in life. Just give me something mildly entertaining with a natural disaster and I'll take it. Preferably while I'm on hallucinogenics. Matt Damon was insanely miscast. You know what? I can agree with that. Was Ben Affleck also miscast? Maybe. Do I like both of them as actors? Yes. Yeah, it was very repetitive. I remember that. John, which island is more dangerous, Skull Island or the Lost World? I feel like I'd have a better chance of survival on the Lost World. Skull Island, man, they had giant fucking spiders and giant monkeys. And they also had dinosaurs. And they had indigenous people who wanted to eat like they were cannibals. So yeah, if you just have dinosaurs, I think I have better odds. All right, the next one comes from Souls Kajir 1999, who says, You seen Ed TV? Underrated. Truman Show does funny. You know, I've seen parts of Ed TV, which did in fact come out around the same time as the Truman Show, but this stars Matthew McConaughey in a much more uninteresting movie. I have seen parts of it. I didn't finish it. I probably never will. That's one thing I think I can safely say in my life. There are two movies I will probably never watch, and that is going to be Ed TV and The Cat in the Hat. I feel pretty good about that. August Babington says, can I get an invite to your wedding? You don't have to feed me. Man, we already sent out the invitations. I am sorry. I'm sorry. You don't want to go to a wedding. They're boring. They really are. You know, listen, the ultimate wedding for me was going to be like have cosplayers dress like Marty and Doc Brown from Back to the Future, and then at the end of the wedding we get into a DeLorean and take off going 88 miles per hour. And then the theme song of the wedding could be The Power of Love. That to me is the ultimate wedding, but we're not going to have any of that. We are going to have really good cupcakes, though. I tell you that right now. The White Skull says, I love you, buddy. Well, I love you, too. G.A. Knight says, hi, John. I've been watching for about 10 years. What are your thoughts on Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2? Grew up on the 1, just have separate art from artists. Oh, just have to separate the art from artists. Yeah, do you want to talk about the director of the movies? Who did a little time in prison for some crimes against children? Yes. So with all of that said, I think I quite enjoyed the first Jeepers Creepers. I think the first 20 minutes of that film are phenomenal. And then it sort of feels like, and I know this is another unpopular opinion, but that's okay. It's okay. We can still be friends, right? I think the first 20 minutes of Jeepers Creepers is great. When you see that truck flying up behind them, when you see the creeper throw that body down the well, I love all of that. And halfway through the film, once the mystery is unraveled and you get to see the creeper for the first time, it takes me out of the movie just a little bit. When he had wings and could fly, I didn't need that much. I just was hoping it was some weird dude who could do all these. He could be this weird entity who's been alive for hundreds of generations or what have you. But I just did not want him to have wings where he flew. Am I the only one? I don't know. All right. Looked like a gargoyle. I don't know, man. Okay, Night King, I'm going to answer a few more questions and I'm going to wrap up the live show. Chipotle should cater your wedding. Funny enough, we went to a wedding last summer and they did have Chipotle. It was good, but they did have Chipotle. John, which actress did you crush on a lot? When I was younger, oh man, Sharon Stone. That was one of them. Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. Jamie Lee Curtis in True Lies. And when I was a younger kid, watching the TV show Boy Meets World with Topanga, oh, that was it. When you're like 9 years old, Topanga was life. All right? And oddly enough, recently I started listening to the Boy Meets World podcast, where all the actors come back and kind of talk about the show. It's interesting if you were a fan of the show. So anyway, I hope that was a fulfilling weird answer that you needed. Oh, Christina Ricci and Casper. I prefer in Black Snake Moan. Okay, the next one comes from Night King of One. About Austin Butler in Dune 2, he almost loses his first fight when fighting someone who isn't drugged. Not very intimidating when he almost loses to a 63-year-old man. Yes, he is 63, and the guy I recognize because he was the villain in Shanghai Noon. Yeah, I didn't know what they were doing with his character. I really didn't get it. I didn't know if he was supposed to be good at fighting or bad at fighting, or he thought he was good, but it turns out he kind of is good. Yeah, I was a bit confused on it too, man. Skylar Wheelock says, Lou Bloom mentions he edited out the killer's shooting and leaving as well as the person still alive on the couch. However, they show the person on the news. Wouldn't the detectives have noticed that part was missing from the copy Lou Bloom gave them? Let's not get too technical about it. I mean, maybe he turned off the camera, maybe he missed something. I don't know. But the truth is, without evidence, they can't prove him right or wrong. Steady hands, steady hands. NRML Design says, "Hey John, my cousin just started a YouTube channel. Can you give him a shout out? Axiom Ant Comics. Also, some advice on growing his channel. Thank you." There's really no new advice I can give you that someone else hasn't already said 8,000 times on YouTube. I don't know what the fuck he's doing on YouTube. It's hard for me to give you advice on a YouTube channel I've never watched and never seen. I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't. But I think the best case scenario for people starting a YouTube channel right now that are brand new is the easiest audience to obtain is going to be on TikTok. You just get fed viewers, and if you're slightly entertaining and you're talking about something people give a shit about, they'll leech on to you on TikTok. I've seen the most talentless hacks on TikTok have 1 million followers, and they're saying nothing about anything. They're just repeating what somebody else said before, but they have a following. So I would say start there, because when it comes to social media followers, the hardest place to gain them is YouTube, to be honest with you. I feel like YouTube, or at least the way the algorithm used to work until maybe a year or two ago, it was so hard to get a new audience on YouTube. It really was. Unless you were talking about the most topical thing ever ahead of time, it was hard to capture a new audience. And I'm just grateful I started when I did. So other than the obvious answers, I would say take some of that advice. But yeah, thanks, man. Matthew Algreen says, "Did you see Dune 2 in IMAX? Also, which one do you prefer, Oppenheimer or Dune 2? I actually think I might prefer Dune 2. I would rather rewatch that multiple times than Oppenheimer. Can I say something? And this has been the live show of unpopular opinions, and I did enjoy Oppenheimer. I thought it was a good historical kind of epic, if you will. I thought it was interesting, though I do wish they would have dived into the science of actually creating the atomic bomb a bit more than they did, which I kind of felt like they skimmed over. But with Oppenheimer, and I know they used practical effects, were you underwhelmed with the explosion at the end of the movie? Am I the only one? Like, I didn't feel like there was any reference point on how large it actually was. It was so quick and sudden. It just, you go, oh. And I'm waiting for them to like fly over Japan at some point, and that never happens. So you're just, it ends with the test bomb, and that's cool, but the explosion itself, I feel like if I went in my backyard and took an M80 and recorded it with a high frame rate camera up close and played that footage in slow motion, that explosion would look like the same explosion at the end of Oppenheimer. I feel like it would look similar. All right. The next one comes from Niking01, who says, "John, did you ever finish The Bounty Laugh Out Loud? But in all honesty, savor the flavor with that film." I'll get around to it one day. Yeah, The Bounty is an 1800s naval ship movie. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, starring Mel Gibson. I'll get around to finishing it one day, man. Dante says, "Every time I watch your live stream, I have flashbacks to the 2012 The Avengers and the Dark Knight Rises were in theaters. How in the world fuck me, I cannot read. How the world has changed since that time." Okay. Well, thank you, Dante. Yeah, man, it feels like a lifetime ago, does it not? 12 years ago. You know what's funny? I remember making both of those videos, both of those reviews. I remember where I was when I made them. And if you want that quick story, just to go down memory lane for a couple minutes, just to get nostalgia with you, get nostalgic for a couple minutes, all 311 of you, if you want to hear the backstory. I remember making my Avengers review And I saw the movie in theaters, and I ate nachos with jalapenos. And during the movie, I started to get really hot and warm, and I thought, okay, maybe it's just the theater. I'm here with all these sweaty, grown men watching a comic book movie in the theater, and the AC's not working. I don't know what's happening, man. I'm just getting a little hot. And then I went home, and I started to get a fever, and I was profusely sweating. And I remember recording my Avengers review. If you go back and watch my Avengers 2012 review, look how sweaty I look. I was on the verge of one of the worst flus I've ever had. The next day, I woke up vomiting, sick. I had a fever of like 100 and something degrees. I felt like a freight train had ran over my body. Yeah, that was terrible. And then with the Dark Knight Rises review, I actually saw that with Stuckman at a press screening and shot that review in his bedroom as he was out in the other room talking to his dad. And I remember just hating it because I knew I only had like 10 minutes to gather my thoughts on this huge movie that I really enjoyed and try to crap those out to a camera. It just felt so rushed. And that's one of those reviews I wish I could do over again because I don't feel like I said anything of substance because I didn't have enough time to think. The next one comes from Rebel Rock, who says, Austin Butler still doing that Elvis accent in interviews is so cringe. His acting in Dune 2 gives me Jared Leto vibes. Yeah, he kind of does do that. Well, I think Austin Butler in Dune 2 did a really good Stellan Skarsgård impression with his voice tone. I thought that was really nice. That was a nice touch. I think Austin Butler in certain films works fine, but yeah, that made up Elvis thing where he's being that pretentious Hollywood actor who's like some kind of method actor who takes himself too serious, sort of like Jared Leto. It's a bit much. It's a bit pretentious. Yeah. So I started as Elvis, and yeah, it was a great role. It's like, shut the fuck up, man. Come on, you're an actor. Just pretend to talk a different way, okay? This Elvis shtick isn't working anymore. You're not deep, okay? Go back and listen to his earlier interviews. He sounds just like a dude. But I guess that's what you have to do to get pivotal roles in Hollywood. I don't know. Claudia Rogajon says, I laughed when I saw Austin Butler's first knife fight in Dune 2. I'm sorry, the guy he's fighting literally fought Jackie Chan in a movie and looked in better shape than Austin Butler. I'm sorry he would have torn him to shreds. I don't know, man. He's an alien on a distant planet in a fictional movie that's sci-fi where they ride giant fucking worms and inhale something called spice. And what does that do? Well, it just makes you really good at math, which being good at math makes you good at time travel. Or not time travel, space travel. So I think if we can swallow all of those pills, I can buy into Austin Butler being good in a knife fight. Like, J-Man Games says, have you seen the movie Lost in Translation? I recommend something TV series, Life in New Orleans After Katrina. It's really good. No Man Alive. I have seen Lost in Translation. What is the TV series? Trim? I recommend Treme? Treme? Okay, it's Life After Katrina. Okay, that could be interesting. I do like Bad Lieutenant with Nicolas Cage, which takes place during the flooding of Katrina at one point in the opening of the movie. I did enjoy that. John can tell a story like few others. I try. I have the slight gift of gab if I really turn it on. But I'll tell you why. It's because I grew up with not enough friends and I had a lot of alone time. And I idolized a lot of movie characters who did long narrations during their films. So I took a little bit of that and I made it part of my own personality. Like Ferris Bueller, when he breaks the fourth wall throughout Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I resonated with that. And that's what I get to do here. You know, it's little things like that. John, thoughts on The Revenant? My fiance has never seen that movie. She does want to see it. And I might watch it with her. I was never in love with it. I remember a lot about it. It's a cool movie. There's a lot of things I enjoy about it. Okay, I like how it uses natural lighting. I think the actors give really good performances. It has a great bear attack scene, okay? And then Tom Hardy just talks like this the entire fucking movie. All those pelts over there. All of those things are great. I kind of want to rewatch it, but it's been a few years. It was never one of my favorite movies, though. So, thoughts on Saved by the Bell? I liked it. I mean, Kelly as a kid. Now, you want to talk about childhood crushes? Kelly from Saved by the Bell. Hey, Preppy. I love it, man. AC Slater. And then Screech went on to do porn. You know, you gotta love it. Right. I'm going to answer just one or two more questions, and then I'm going to wrap up this live show because we have been talking for about an hour and 41 minutes, and I was only planning on doing this until the Oscars were over, but you guys are just too cool. I couldn't say bye to you, and it's been a few weeks. So let's answer a few more questions. If you have a really good, juicy question, I think now is the time to get it in. Get those juicy questions in. I'm just gonna give you like 10 seconds to type that shit up. Come on. I'll rapid fire some questions here. Oh, we already talked about Topanga from Boy Meets World, you sick perv. 90210, my sisters watched that when I was younger. I never really got into it. John, thoughts on the final Tarantino film? The movie critic? I can't wait for that shit, man. If he was going to go out on one movie with one premise that speaks to me dearly, this seems like the one. It's really sad that why does he have to make just one more movie? Come on, man. Okay, here it goes. Claudia Rowe, John. Speaking of Austin Butler, it's so weird seeing him now compared to when he started in the mid-2000s. It's all those Nickelodeon shows he was in. Never in a million years did I think he would be an Oscar nominee, and yeah, I hate his fake voice. Yeah, it's a little fakey, but then again, who would have ever thought Ryan Gosling, after seeing him in Young Hercules, would be where he's at now, singing Barbie musicals on the Oscars? John, does your fiance want to be on camera, or are you hiding her from us? No, she just doesn't like the camera thing. But the truth be told, she has the wit and the charm and the personality to be on camera. And I think she would be a really good podcast co-host, especially when talking about movies. I really do. How many kids do you plan on having? Oh, one is more than enough. Gosling and the Nice Guys was amazing. Yeah, great movie. Weren't they making a Nice Guys Part 2 at some point? Okay, I'm waiting for a juicy question here. Is Edward Furlong going to make that comeback? I don't know. I don't think so, man. I wish he could. I think if he really tried, I think he could. Because he has a real life presence about him. And I always liked him as an actor. The dude could act. But if you see him now in some newer interviews, he don't give a shit. I mean, he literally looks the part of a recovering drug addict. Self-admittedly so. That's what he will tell you. And he just wants to sign a piece of paper and get paid $60 a pop. John, I missed you, man. Well, I missed you too, Josh Coffee. Rebel Rock says, did you see the rumors of Shane Gillis as the lead in the movie critic? Interesting choice. I kind of like it and trust Tarantino can get the performance out of him. Shane Gillis. I did not know that news. I'm double checking it now. Shane Gillis? I don't know about that, man. Okay. I could see him being a pompous, self-indulgent, modern-day movie critic who doesn't really understand anything about cinema, but he is this critic. I could see him playing that type of role. maybe that's not at all what he's going to play, but I could see him playing that version of like a Rotten Tomato critic. Just a thought. That could be wrong. I don't know. John, favorite pizza toppings? Man, you get an everything pizza or you get a barbecue chicken pizza. Those are the two options in life. But I will tell you this. I'm going to share a story. And listen, I want you guys listen to what I'm about to say. This might be the most important part of this live stream. So if you're joining me, don't go anywhere. Stay glued. I'm going to tell you something. Last night, we ordered Pizza Hut, okay? Now, I used to deliver pizzas at Pizza Hut for 2 or 3 years during college. Great job. I loved it. And I know all the tricks of the trade, all right? I know shit that I don't even want to share with you because you will never eat pizza again. But hear me out for 1 second. So last night, it was late. I was hungry, ordered some Pizza Hut for pickup, right? I'm at a point in my life where I don't trust anyone with my food in their car to deliver it to me because, keep in mind, I was a pizza delivery driver. So I ordered a barbecue chicken pizza from Pizza Hut, and we get the pizza, and I'm looking at it, and it's just not right. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'll show you on my phone here. Let's let that focus. Now, if you see up there in the corner of it, you see how there's like a little something wrong here? So it looks like to me what they did, and I've seen this done many times, when someone at Pizza Hut's hungry, the way they feed themselves is they basically take one of the slices of pizza and they slice that in half. They take that sliver out and they kind of push the pizza together. And if you do it right, it looks like a full pizza. But I have a very keen eye when it comes to pizza, okay? Trust me. And I instantly noticed this slice was missing. And then I separated the pizza out, and it was clear as day that 1/2 piece of pizza was missing. So I instantly call up Pizza Hut. And I do it in a cool, I'm not calling like some asshole Karen. I'm very calm. And I say, hey, I think someone may have taken a slice of my pizza out when I got it for carryout. And I'm okay with that. Okay, I won't get angry, but I need my money back because it's fucking disgusting. And she was really apologetic and assured me no one would ever do that. But then again, I've worked at pizza places. People will do that. And they gave us a credit back. And I just thought I'd share the story with all of you. So there's that. So look out for that if you ever order pizza. It's scary, man. I'm trying to save your life. Anyway, J-Man Game says, most annoying actor of all time and why? Jared Leto, Morbius, because. Next question. Rebel Rock says, did you know Rachel from Boy Meets World does porn now? No. But I'll research that later. Yeah, you know what I should do? I think I might leave a Google review. I think I'm going to leave a Google review. I think I will. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, that is fucking disgusting, isn't it? But here's the truth. I want you guys to hear the truth. I was so hungry and the edibles had kicked in that once they gave me the credit, I didn't care. And then what I did is I microwaved all the pieces of pizza that I was eating to like kill anything that touched it. And I was fine with it. But I want you to hear this. Listen, if you think that's gross, let me tell you how pizza is cut at Pizza Hut, all right? And then I'm going to wrap up this live stream. I'm going to leave you with this. At Pizza Hut, when your pizza comes out of that hot oven, the entire room is hot, right? You have some sweaty teenage kid, and he takes that pizza out, and he hovers over it, dripping sweat onto it, and he cuts it. Whatever's on him is just dripping down into this pizza. Okay, and if that doesn't happen, Then one of the drivers who deliver your pizzas, who come in and never wash their hands, they're going to come in and try to help out the kitchen staff if it's busy. They're going to take that pizza and then they're going to cut it with a pizza cutter that's been used all night. And that shit's covered in gunk and dried up pepperonis and all kinds of other gross shit you just don't want any part of. And sometimes that touches the floor. I assure you it touches the floor. And if you have a good employee, they might wash it. They might rinse it off. Okay? You might get lucky. But it's utterly disgusting if you really think about it. And that, folks, is why I prefer frozen pizza. Sure, it might be wrapped in plastic and it's been frozen in some warehouse since 1992. But you know what? It's well preserved. The cold air has killed all of the bacteria. And then my oven's going to kill the remaining bacteria. So that's why frozen pizza is so important. And I don't think we respect it enough in society. I'm just putting it out there. We don't. Someone said they found a whole rat in their pizza. Well, that's one hell of a topping, I guess. Was it cooked at least? Whew. Okay. And Jason says, John, did you watch, or John, what is the greatest thing you have learned? The greatest thing I have learned. I think the greatest thing you can learn about yourself, if you want the philosophical answer, I think you need to learn who you are as a person. Which part do you play in society? And once you master that, you will be at peace with yourself. But the greatest thing I've ever learned was never grab the first item in the front when you're grocery shopping. If you want the real answer, the non-philosophical answer, here, you guys want to talk about food? Let's talk about gross food shit for a couple minutes. And then I'm really going to go. When I go to the grocery store or anywhere, when I get something from the shelf, I never get the thing in the front. No. You got to reach back there and grab one of the last, not the last one, but the one before the last item. So if you're going to buy milk and you go to the freezer section, don't grab the one in the front. That front milk jug, in my opinion, in my head, someone took that out, sat it somewhere for 3 hours, someone picked it back up, and then put it back in the freezer. That's the one in the front. Everyone's touched it. It's contaminated. It's no good. You got to get the one further back. Whatever that is, never get the item in the front on the shelf at the store. It has not been tampered with, and it's the best one you can get. I know that sounds crazy. And never go to Golden Corral. Under any circumstances, never go to Golden Corral. Johnny's health and safety tips. That's the truth. I no longer talk about movies. I just talk about food and wrestling. In the plastic is fantastic. That's my motto, yes. Never go to Costco high on Saturday sample day. I do go to Costco quite often, I really do. But I don't like the samples, I really don't. I feel like everyone sneezed on them. I'm a germaphobe, I truly am. All right, I think that's a good place to wrap it up right there, guys. Be careful where you order your food. You can't go wrong with frozen pizza. You just can't. So with all that said, guys, I want to say thanks for hanging out with me for another live show. I much appreciate it. Thanks for the questions. I will do another one of these this week. I won't make you wait 2 weeks for the next one. We'll do one this week. Let's aim for Wednesday or Thursday. So I have 332 of you watching right now. And if all of you click the like button, what that will do is it will trigger the YouTube algorithm to let you know that I'm going live again. It will help. Also, if you want to click the stupid bell notification, just tickle that little bell notification if you want to. And then give the video a like. Stick it to the man. Stick it to Google. So, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good night. Hope you enjoyed the Oscars. Good job, Oppenheimer. I'm glad it won. Anything over Barbie, I will take it. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys in a couple more days. And make sure you eat some frozen pizza. I recommend Tombstone. Jack's, if you don't have a lot of money to spend, Jack's will do it. It tastes like cardboard, but that's okay. Delicious cardboard nevertheless. Take care.